G'day guys and welcome back to another One Piece opening. Today we're going to be cracking into the brand new starter deck 10, the 3 captains, the ultra deck right there. Before we get into it, today's giveaway is actually going to be one of these right here. So if you want to win yourself a sealed copy of starter deck 10, all you have to do is 1, be a subscriber, 2, leave a like on the video, and then 3, let us know in the comment section down below what your favorite card is out of this starter deck. Now, as I'm busting it open, switch over to hand cam, we can see that it's a hefty boy, definitely a lot bigger than your standard starter decks. But there are some extra goodies in here. I believe everything's also nice and shiny, nice and foil. So we'll slide that out. We get ourselves a playmat as per usual with your starter decks. Don't believe there's anything different here. Yep, just your standard stuff. There were some rules in the back there, but you do get yourselves a nice deck box right there. So we got ourselves Luffy, Kid, and Law. So the 3 leaders that come in. So this is something a bit different. You get 3 leaders in a starter deck rather than the usual one. Just get some packaging there, and there's the deck. We also get a nice deck divider in there as well. So a nice little deck box right there. I'll pop you in the background, and then this is where all of the magic happens. So let's pop this open. Now this is, Bandai claims to be one of the most competitive out of the box starter decks that they have to offer, which, oh hello, we got some shiny Don. Look at that. Every single one of those Dons is nice and holographic. That's actually pretty cool. So as I was saying, Bandai reckons it's the most competitive starter deck, and we actually have a video up on the channel of us testing that out, playing it the deck out of the box as you would get, and basically only experience us going into that was reading the cards, played 1 game and then went in and actually held our own pretty well. So it definitely lives up to that. I'll leave that video down in the description or up in the card. It'll be somewhere. But let's have a look at the cards here. So first of the 3 leaders, Trafalgar Law. So Law is red purple, just like all the leaders that we have in the deck here. 5,000 power, Law's 4 life, activate main. Once per turn, Don -3. Place one of your opponent's characters with a 3,000 power or less at the bottom of the owner's deck and play 1 character with a cost of 4 or less from your own hand. So very similar to kind of the shambles effect that we have from the current Law. But yeah, very nice. It does see some play in the OPO5 meta, this leader right here. So definitely not a bad one there. Right, next up we have our big boy Luffy. So this one is probably the most played leader out of the 3 that we have access to. So Luffy is a 6,000 power leader. We're getting some Whitebeard vibes there. Only starting with 3 life though. The effect there is activate main once per turn if you have 0 Don cards on the field, or if you have 8 or more Don cards on the field, add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. So lots of Don minusing shenanigans, as we know that purple is usually pretty good at, and there's some bunch of cards in here that give us more access to there. But that 6k body is just hard to deal with, as we've learned from Whitebeard. We'll go on to the next one here. We've got ourselves Captain Kid. So 5,000 power, 5 life. The effect of Kid here is your turn. If you have 4 or more life cards, give this leader -1,000 power. So early stage, we're just sitting at 4,000 power on our turn, which means we can't be super aggressive there. Though when attacking is though, we can Don -1, and this leader gains 2,000 power during the turn. So we can go to 6 early stage, or we can go to 7 late stage. So not a bad option there, but no one seems to have cracked the code quite yet on Captain Kid. If you have, let us know in the comment section down below. I'd love to be able to hear that from you right there. Now, actually, before we move on, this was almost a really disappointing product because of the recent bans where Nami got hit, but we know they're being lifted, so thank goodness. So I guess the first couple of weeks this deck is out, technically not legal, so you can't really play it out of the box, but a couple of weeks definitely can. And let us know if you want to see kind of like, because usually we do a budget build for these things, and essentially we just say play this deck as the budget version, but we can do like an optimized version, what we usually do, where we have 2 of the star decks together for a build there. So let us know if you want to see what that looks like for the next couple of weeks where you don't have Nami, and maybe for future stuff going on there. So, but yeah, let us know in the comment section down below. But let's get started with our character card. So we got ourselves a big boy Luffy. So it costs you 10, 11,000 power, has rush, absolutely insane. The other part of the effect there is once per turn, when your opponent activates a blocker, KO one of your opponent's characters with 8,000 power or less. So absolute madness. You're KOing pretty much anything out there, except for those some bigger dudes. But yeah, KOing a lot of stuff there. And you don't have to KO the blocker either. And it's definitely not when Luffy attacks, can be when your other things attack. Just when a block is activated, you get to KO something. So we do get 2 of these beautiful Luffys right there. Now, speaking of blockers, we got the next card up for us in the deck here. We got ourselves Law, which Law is a 4 cost of 5,000 body, 1,000 counter. Blocker. On play, you can don -1 if your opponent has 7 or more cards in their hand. Trash 2 cards from your opponent's hand. So, really nice to see. Nice. Something for your opponents to think about there. As there is a little bit of texture on these cards here as well. So cool to have that there. Right, another great purple card that we have access to out of Starter Deck 10. So Captain Kidd, 7 cost, 8,000 body, no counter. On play and when attacking, you can don -1. Up to one of your leader gains 1,000 power until the start of your next turn. So you pair that with Luffy. Luffy's 7,000 for your turn and your opponent's turn. That's Whitebeard on steroids right there. But yeah, really good for purple. We get 2 of them there. Now, we're going on to a reprint here. This is Rush Zoro from OPO1 in a nice alternate artwork there. A little bit of texturing going on there. I don't know if we can quite get that on camera there. But we get ourselves a full playset of Old Mate Zoro. Now, the other reprint that we get here in the deck is Nami. This is the OPO1 Nami, the Searcher Nami, which is currently banned until the release of OPO5. But yeah, great artwork on the Nami there. Also some nice texture stuff going on right there. And I believe we also get a full playset of Nami. All right, next up, we've got ourselves Sanji. So Sanji is 6 cost, 6,000 body, 1,000 counter. On play, if your opponent has a character with 5,000 power or more, this card gains rush. So nice Straw Hat, possible rush option. Just like the, get 4 there, just like the Starter Deck Sanji that also gets rush with some shenanigans going on there. But going on to Jinbei. Jinbei is actually a really good card out of this deck as well. It's a 2k counter. Cost you 2,000 body. Don ×1 when attacking. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during the turn. So similar to Brook that we've got access to, except Brook costs you double and also reduces 2 things by 2,000 power. But this is just another Straw Hat target that does reduce power. Really handy to see. And we only get 2 of the Jinbei in there. So to get a full playset, you need to pick up 2 of these decks or get some singles. Next up, we have Killer. Killer is also a pretty good card. 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1,000 counter, your turn, once per turn. When a Don card on your field is returned to your Don deck, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So really good into those boards that like to go wide, like to go low to the ground. Really good there. We get a full playset of Killer right there, which is really nice. Next up, we've got ourselves Sachi and Penguin. 4 cost, 5,000 body, 2,000 counter. So really nice to have another 2,000 counter available to purple. On play, if you have 3 or less Don on your field, add up to 2 Don cards from your Don deck and set them as rested. So really good once you get some good Don minusing effects going on, just to help you rebuild. Otherwise, really good 2k counter. And we do get ourselves a full play set of these guys right here. Next up, we've got Jean Bart. 4 cost, 5,000 body, 1,000 counter. On play, rest a Don. Add 1 Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. So a great form of ramp. Purple loves to ramp after they've used their cost reduction effect. So not a bad one there. Heat. So Heat is actually a pretty decent card. 3 cost, 4,000 power, 1,000 counter. Your turn, once per turn. When a Don card from your field is returned to your Don deck, this character gains 2,000 power until the start of your next turn. So, as we spoke about before, lots of Don minusing shenanigans going on there. We've seen some of that already with leaders, characters going on there. So you can buff it up to 6k. It'll be 6k for your turn and your opponent's turn. Heat gets a full play set out of this deck. Does see some play in some of the meta decks going forward. Next up, we got Beppo, 4 cost 5,000, body 1,000, counter on play and when attacking. If your opponent has more Don cards on the field than you, add 1 Don card from your Don deck and rest it. So another great form of ramping up right there with Beppo. We get a full play set of Beppo. Next up, we have Wire. Wire is a 3 cost 3,000 body, 1,000 counter blocker. Once per turn, when a Don card on your field is returned to your Don deck, draw 1 card and trash 1 card from your hand. So cool blocker, but also great hand cycle. As we've spoken about multiple times, lots of Don minusing effect going on, so that hand cycle effect will be live all the time. That does it for our characters. We're moving on to the events that we have access to. The first one is the Gum Gum Giant Sumo Slap. This cost you 1, is a counter. One of your leader or characters gains 2,000 power during the battle. Then you can KO one of your opponent's characters with 2,000 power or less. So yeah, great form of counter and removal. And nice and cheap as well. Straw Hat Tag as well, also searchable. So nice to have that there. We get ourselves 2 copies of that. And then rounding us off, we've got ourselves Gum Gum Kong Gatling. Cost you 5. Activate on the main, a KO one of your opponent's characters with 7,000 power or less. So basically like a jet pistol, but cost you 1 more, and you can get an extra level up in terms of the KOing potential. The trigger there is up to one of your leaders gains 1,000 power until the end of your next turn. We got 2 of them there. Actually, I think I told a lie. This is actually the last event card that we have access to. We got ourselves Punk Vice. Nice looking card, costs you 3, activate main, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less, and then add 1 Don card from your Don deck and set it and rest it. The trigger, add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. So doesn't see a lot of play going forward, but is a nice card to have in the deck there. That is the deck all done and dusted in all of its glory. Let us know what you think of the deck, and don't forget to enter that giveaway to win yourself your very own copy of Starter Deck 10. Thank you so much for checking out today's video. Stay beautiful, and we'll see you all in the next one.